to the sacred space. My name is Kalu and I'm also known as the Scribe Priestess. And on this channel, I make videos about spiritual development, spiritual practices, and our spiritual journey here on Earth. And I have to say that for the past couple of videos, I have been really happy because we have been talking about the spiritual practices that I absolutely love and I practice every single day, and I also work with. And today is not an exception. We are going to talk about astrology and tarot. And at the beginning, I wanted just to talk about astrology, but then I said, I might as well just jump into tarot also. So grab yourself something to drink and let's get started with today's video. There is also going to be an extended version about this video on my webpage, and over there I'm going to be talking a little bit about why astrology and tarot have been also kind of taboo subjects, and why is it that they have been seen as pagan situations or pagan rituals, or that type of, when you talk about astrology or tarot, it's witchcraft. So I'm going to talk over there about that subject, and if you're curious enough, then you can go to my webpage. I will leave down the link below so you can go and check it out, become a member, and get access to this extended library. So without further ado, let's get started with today's video. So you guys, oh my god, my little big heart has a lot of love for astrology. If there is something in this world that I am passionate about, is astrology. I already said that writing is one of my passions, but astrology, I mean, I could be talking about astrology the whole time, and actually astrology builds and makes a huge part of my day-to-day life. So a lot of the things that I do, a lot of the things that I learned and that I work with have to do with astrology. I believe that astrology is a spiritual practice because the more you get in the flow of what astrology is and you get in contact with astrology, the more you're going to see that it's a tool that connects us to the energetical influences that are happening in our cosmos, in our lives, how everything is developing itself in the universe, here in this microcosmos that we are living in planet Earth, but actually in a bigger macrocosmos way. So I believe astrology is not only a way of developing our inner wisdom, but actually the far vaster wisdom that we already possess also inside of us about the universe and what actually we're doing here. It's like a dance of energies that is happening all over surrounding us, and as I said, so above, so below. Learning about the cosmos and the universe and these beautiful magical energies that we have available for us, it's also saying a lot about who we are and the things that we are living as human beings and in our evolutions as souls, as spirits, as humans in this lifetime. So I absolutely adore astrology, and I wanted to put here tarot because I actually discovered first tarot, and then tarot was the one that led me to astrology. So it was a very interesting mix. And I also want to make this video very basic. I'm not gonna go into detail and deep understanding about what it is tarot and what astrology is, because I want to dedicate a specific amount of time on these subjects. So I am going to be making series about astrology and series about tarot. I would love to go through the major arcana, for example, through tarot in a series, and actually go through the planets and signs in astrology. So this is like an introduction, and so you guys can understand a little bit my point of view, what I believe, what is my understanding of this, what is it that I do. So yes, let's get started. How did I bump up into this too? I already talked about this in another video because I was going into this dark night of the soul moment as I was around 25. It started around 25, but it really got very bad at the age of 28. Through this span of 3-4 years, I was going into this really deep dark night of the soul, and the things that helped me at that moment to get out of that deep hole where I was not only astrology, but I had talked about like yoga, for example. But a big, huge part on this healing process is astrology and tarot. So I remember that at one point I was, craving something new. I was already doing a lot of yoga. I remember so well. I went into a library, and in Guatemala, there is a business called de museo. That means from museum, or from a museum. In this shop, you can find a lot of esoteric things. They have a lot of things from around the world, beautiful decos that you can put inside of your house, but they have a very huge library selection, so a lot of books. And because I already have had contact with this library before, as I went into my Buddhism era, my Tantra era, and Zen era, I knew that the museo could be that library that I was craving for. And now that I was going into yoga and the chakras and deeper in this type of wisdom, I remember that I just went there. I had on the back of my head a very beautiful picture of a moment that I had with a best friend of mine as I was in university. And she is a person that also likes to read a lot. And I remembered that we were at the museo, really when I was around 20 years or 19 years. And we were just going through a lot of things. Suddenly she took a tarot card deck and she was like looking at it, and she was like, have you ever seen this before? And I was just like, no, I haven't. And we were kind of like, should we try to see what this is or not? At this moment, this beautiful memory came back to me. And as I was going through this transformation, I just went there and I said like, okay, this is the moment where I'm going to learn about tarot. Maybe I find some enlightenment here, or I don't know. It was very interesting because, I mean, back in those days, tarot was not as strong as it is right now. Right now, how many channels of tarot you can find on YouTube. It's amazing. A lot of people are doing it, and a lot of people do it as a hobby. Nowadays, it's not a taboo, but when I was 20 years old, it was still a little bit taboo. So I felt like I was doing something courageous for myself when I picked it up, and I was blown away. I saw all the symbols and I remember that my first one was a tarot from Marseille, because I wanted to have the traditional one. So I didn't went with Rider White, actually very interesting. I went with the Marseille. I was blown away because a lot of the things I could not read it. I mean, there were symbols and there were a lot of things, but I was not able to just by looking at the cards, understanding their function, their meaning. I started to, I bought around 3 books of tarot, and I started to learn by myself. And that was also part of this healing process. And it was that process of reading these books and getting in contact with this symbology, with the divine, God, Goddess, universe, through this archetypal language, that I came to the planets, and eventually to astrology. And I remember I'm laughing because it has been almost 12 years that I started this journey. And the first book that I had was actually Astrology for Dummies. I find that so funny. Yes, my first book on astrology was Astrology for Dummies. And because, come on you guys, 12 years ago, there were not a lot of people doing that. It was all very like under the sheets. Nobody was talking about it. That was taboo. I didn't knew where should I go, who I should talk to if I want to know about astrology. And on my household, I grew up knowing nothing about astrology, knowing nothing about tarot. So it was really a self-discovery path that I did with both of them. But as soon as I got into astrology, that just consumed me. I don't know how many hours, how many days, how many books I have read about astrology. And it just went deeper and deeper and deeper. I started to understand a lot more about myself, and every time I saw a chart, I wanted to just absolutely read it. I started to do charts for my family, a couple of my friends. So it just started to develop that way. And as I said, that started when I was 24 years old. And it went up until it reached the peak at the age of 29. And that's where I decided to really just restructure all my life. And the age of 28 was very important for me, but at the age of 29 was really the moment I said, like, okay, we're going to do everything very differently. And now I'm sitting here almost 12 years ago that I started that journey of astrology and tarot, and I continue to not only practice them. I have to say I don't do tarot as much as I used to, but astrology every single day, every time, though that energy and that wisdom is always with me. But I believe tarot to be also a very important tool for us of self-discovery. The last thing that I did in Guatemala, I was able to do readings, start to do charts. I mean, I did that and I felt so happy. That was my job. That was actually what I was craving. And after that huge long period of recovering from this burnout situation, I felt absolutely alive again in this new path that I have found for myself and to actually serve others. Yes, you guys, so now I want to talk about my points of views about both of them, and why do I consider them to be spiritual practices, or how would I put these two disciplines into a spiritual practice, because they are not per se spiritual practices, but they are disciplines, or I would even say sciences. Although they don't see it that way in this era that we are living, full of materialistic ideas, and that science is separated from spirituality, which is nonsense, but that's what we're living. And yes, the type of astrology that I do is the Evolutionary Astrology. You know, Carl Jung is very famous for having brought to the West, to us here in Europe or America, the concept of archetypes. And he was able to develop this beautiful language that the energetical realms have. So these higher realms, the divine energy, this is a language that is spoken with archetypes. And Jung was the person that brought this concept to us. And we are all very glad. Jung did study a lot of Tibetan Tantra, also wisdom, and did also a lot about Kundalini yoga. He knew about, Carl Jung in the Red Book. You can go and check it out. It's one of his beautiful masterpieces, and there is nothing more fascinating as that book. A lot of mysticism inside, and there you can find and understand with the symbols, with this symbolic language, how was it possible that Jung went into this archetypal world? He was a great mystic also. Evolutionary astrology comes from this type of movement. The core thing to understand about evolutionary astrology is that this chart that you have from your birth date is a pathway for you to understand your journey here on Earth, to reveal your strengths, to reveal the things that you have here on Earth in order for you to grow, to develop yourself. You also have the capacity to reveal all of your resources, all of the things that you have here as tools to go further down in the path and journey that is life. You can also go there and understand your family dynamics, your dynamics with your emotional world, with your identity, other past lives, energies that you're carrying into this one that you maybe need to heal, or family generational trauma that has come into, from family to family to family to you, and how you can also heal all this chain of energetical trauma that has been also part of your generations and ancestors. I find that so beautiful, because imagine the great gift that we are given to be able to do our journey here on Earth, and being able to bring healing to a lot of things that have happened to in the past and that our ancestors had to live. And now you have the opportunity to also be able to heal a lot of that. Obviously, I'm not saying that it's just that and that you have such a big responsibility. It's there, it's a potential that you have. But an important thing that I want to say, and now comes my point of view about astrology, is that the mainstream thought or the mainstream idea is that astrology is purely predictive. And I absolutely am against that, because this predictive astrology is just a part of the amazing science and amazing discipline that astrology is. Astrology has a very deep history, and a lot of the wisdom that our civilizations already had was stole, burned, banned, and destroyed. And you can go into the history of the Romans, the Roman Empire, everything that happened in Egypt, everything that happened in Greece. So in these moments, if you go to Egypt, you can go to the Temple of Dendera, and there you will see how touched the Egyptian civilization was about astrology. The whole Temple of Dendera is an astrological chart. Just to know that these ancient civilizations already worked with very advanced forms of astrology, and that all that was just stole, burned, destroyed by the era of religions. That I have to say it. But yes, that's why I'm saying the Roman Empire and all of this, trying to bring this religious era, all the reforms that happened afterwards. And funny enough, or I don't know if that's funny, interesting enough, one of the things that prevailed was the predictive astrology, because the predictive astrology was the astrology that the kings and the emperors used to start moving themselves in certain ways in wars or attacking. And it was more like what we call nowadays the mundane astrology. And the mundane astrology is more of a collective energy astrology, and it tackles more of politics and the energetical footprint of collectives, of lands, countries, and everything that happens like in a global scale. Has to do a lot with politics. And that was what prevailed, this predictive part of astrology, and everything else was either destroyed, or the little parts that were kept were really put into secret cages, and this wisdom was very hidden. And the more you get into mysticism and esoterica, the more you're going to get in contact with this wisdom. But you need to look for it. It's not like you go like, oh yeah. I'm very happy that we are starting to live now in ages where a lot of the spirituality is coming out, and it's just revealing itself that there are a lot of other techniques, a lot of other tools that we can actually use to connect ourselves with our spirituality. So my point of view is strictly that astrology is not meant to be predictive. Astrology is a tool for you to discover yourself. It's an amazing, powerful tool for you to understand where are your gifts, where are your beautiful strengths in this life, what things you can do good, what challenges you also have, which ways you can go with the things that you already have to go further in your journey as a human being in this lifetime. So it's a pathway to understanding your journey here in life, and it's gonna continue to give you this guidance through the energetical energies, through these energies of the planets, of this constant moving cosmos that we are living in. So you're going to be able to understand when the energy of Mars is doing something, how this energy is impacting you. And if you know your astrological chart, you're going to know in which directions you can use this energy for your benefit, or maybe it's a time for you to lay low, or if you're going to have some challenges. It is a guidance. This is a tool of guidance. It is not something to be used as a prediction. I get it really bothers me when people are just like coming to see astrology as, am I going to marry this person or not? Is this person my soulmate or not? Is this, because one thing that I have learned with astrology and tarot is that are three subjects that move us human beings, really move us in a deep level: love, money, and health. These are the three things that people almost all the time want to know about when they go and take a reading from a tarot reader or also in astrology. And these are tools, yes, in predictive type of tools in astrology or tarot, you can take a look at the possibility of that. But there is nothing written. You are at the moment making your life as you go. If you change your energy and you change the way you are vibrating, the way you're thinking, the way you're feeling, then your life is going also to change. You are a master manifester. That means that you are able to create in this life what you want. Imagine that. Just close your eyes and go deep within with this idea inside of you that you can create the life that you want. And that is taking in consideration that you cannot make anyone against their will do something for you, because that's black magic and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't go good. It will never work. So free will is a law that is for everybody in this planet, in this universum. Free will is for all of us. As I said, I all of this thinking and situations that you're going to go and receive a prediction that is going to determine your faith. It's a very low energetical thought process, because you are given the power you have to create your reality to a predictive, to a possibility. You're letting the possibilities of the universe direct your life instead of you manifesting and co-creating with the universe. Does it make it click what I'm saying? So you see, that's why I also stopped doing tarot, although I love the cards. I love oracles. I love to channel the energies and to connect with my spirit guides. But I was looking and I felt that the people that I was helping with the cards, or it didn't happen that much with astrology, but with the cards, the oracles, they needed the answers. They were like, I want to have a reading because if I don't have this, then I don't want to make a decision. I am feeling so much anxiety. There is this very addictive energy to this prediction idea and this new era of understanding a tool as tarot. And let me tell you guys, tarot is just as astrology. It is a pathway to understand our journey here in life. The major arcana are archetypes that are talking to us, that are guiding us through the journey, giving us symbols, giving us answers, giving us guidance to how to move through the energetical fields, through the journey of life herself. So more than asking questions about, is this person going to fall in love with me or not? These tools are for a more profound knowledge, for more profound journeys. And it is okay if I started it making those questions, because we gotta start somewhere. And I remember that for a couple of years I was very into this predictive part and side of tarot and also astrology, but the more I did it, the more it didn't make sense. And as I said, there is this energy of addiction inside of it that I don't resonate at all with. And that's why whenever I am asked nowadays if I can do a reading or if I can work with oracles, I am very skeptical. I still do, but very special ones. And yeah, sometimes I am absolutely not focused on that type of questions. And I find that it's okay, because there are a lot of other people out there who do this type of reading, and it's okay. You do you. I believe that these are tools far more expensive, deeper, to really guide you through this development that is your life. So when I work with astrology, it is to understand a deeper sense of who we are as humans in order to keep going in our journey. Maybe find some other resources to develop ourselves, to understand where our pains are, to be able to transmute them and to rise above them, to walk the journey a little bit lighter or funnier or happier. For me, as I said, I find them to be both spiritual practices, because you can reflect a lot. You can connect to your inner voice, to your inner self, and to your higher self, to God, Goddess, the universe, by making these tools, these disciplines part of your life. I I love when I know that, for example, there is a planet making transit with a specific either sign or another planet, and to understand the dance that they are doing, the energies that they are creating. I love to be able to understand that in order to take profit, to be able to work together with these energies and to also see it manifested in my life. So that's why I say that I work every single day with astrology, because I am always looking at what is the energy, what are the energies doing? What am I invited to do? What am I invited to discover, to play with? And the same goes to tarot. You can just use the major arcana to take a card and to say, what is the high priestess telling me today? What energies of this archetype are being present in my life right now? And how can I have more about this energy in my life? Should I maybe challenge myself a little bit more to get in contact with the priestess energy? You see, it's beautiful. Those are spiritual practices because it connects us to our inner self. And in that way, we get a higher connection also to our higher selves. And naturally, you will go to this divine realm where you can be also in contact with God, Goddess, the universe, your angels, your guardian angel. It is a way. It is just, those are tools that we have here on earth to get in contact with these realms. I hope you liked this video. I hope you liked my story. And as I say, I do astrology. I do astrological readings. I also do a couple of tarot readings. It really depends. I do it together with spiritual guidance. So I don't do just tarot readings, but I do it if it is inside of a spiritual guidance journey that I'm doing with somebody. So if you're interested in that, you can go and check it out on my webpage and see my offerings. Thank you guys for having been here. Thank you for having watched this video, for having listened to me talk about these passions of mine that I have. I really love the symbolism and the symbolic language, the archetypal language also that we have. I love symbols. It's part of my job, semantics. So yes. I am sending you, wherever you are, a lot of light and a lot of love. We will see each other on next video. Bye!